Welcome to our 5 on 5. We're pleased to be joined by Brian Ballou, a very familiar face from the Oregon Department of Forestry. Brian, how are you today?
Doing well.
Good to see you. So tell us, what is ODF doing right now? Where do we stand with fire season?
Well, we've been relatively quiet for the last week or two. Things are still extraordinarily dry, so there is not any change in the fire danger level. We're still extreme. And the way the weather looks for at least the next week, we're going to stay that same way. We're anxious to have a break, but there doesn't seem to be any breaks in sight.
Yeah, since you say it is relatively quiet right now, knock on wood as we say that, of course, but is everyone kind of standing around at the ready?
Not really standing around at the ready, sure they are. Still some of our old fire areas that we're still checking on, Oregon Gulch, being as how it was a 30,000 acre fire, merits frequent checks because we know that not every single smoke in the middle of that thing has been put out. Same goes for Rogue River Drive. We cruise through there a couple times a day, every day. Old Blue Mountain over there in the hills just south of Rogue River. Still looking at that one. Haven't really picked up anything new. Still watching, kind of waiting. Been picking up a few small fires here and there, burn barrels, vehicles, kind of the everyday sorts of fires, but quick response has helped out in keeping any of those from turning into large fires. We know full and well that large fires are still very possible now with as dry as it is. So we're just kind of keeping an eye on things and getting ready for anything else that could break out. Certainly.
Okay, now Oregon Gulch Fire, you just talked about it. I know you had so many agencies involved and really everybody across Southern Oregon involved in that one. Was the battle from your end, was that a success?
Yeah, it really turned out as well as it could. I mean, it was a lightning-caused fire and didn't really show itself until several days after the thunderstorm passed through. And it was in one of those areas where really access wasn't all that big of an issue, but it was just a lot of continuous dry fuel, heavy grass and brush, continuous trees. Extraordinarily dry, and the day that it took off, the winds were kind of switching back and forth, and frankly it was not safe to try and engage it with a direct attack approach. I had to pull people out. Weren't really too sure which way that fire was going to go at the beginning, hitting it with helicopters, air tankers, trying to get some sort of an edge on it, but that thing was just destined to take off, and it did. It burned 3 days real hard, 10,000 acres a day. Once we got it into the river canyon, just into Klamath County, Klamath River Canyon, we were able to establish a holding spot down there. And from then on, it was pretty much just moving some fire lines around to tighten it up and mop it up.
Yeah, and we've talked, we were talking about this in practically March about how dry this fire season was looking, and fortunately enough, again, knock on wood, it hasn't been as bad as last fire season, but the conditions certainly are dry. Are we looking at a fire season that could last well into October?
Yes, the extended outlook that we have received, we get one every month, and they've been pretty consistent, I would say, all year long, that it's going to be a very dry year. And the dryness is going to keep going right through the fall. We're really not expecting any rain until late in November. So that's a long way out, and it's a long time to be putting up with fire season. But here it is. It's what we've got. Historically, fire season typically ends in the middle of October here in Southwest Oregon. Some of the years, like in 1988, I think it went into November 12th. We could be meeting or exceeding that this year.
Wow. All right. Well, thank you so much for your efforts so far this year. And, of course, for the next couple of months, Brian, good to see you. All right. Stay with us. We'll be right back.